Let's get cracking, ladies and gentlemen. Right, my name is Antony Carpen. I am a local historian, a community reporter, amongst other things. And let's go straight in. These were, for those of you who are around in the year of our Lord 2015, will remember this big gathering of the great and the good, which came up with 24 visions of Cambridge in 2065. It's worth actually having a look at those now on the Cambridge CSAT website. They are still there. I don't believe they went on to the second part, but it's interesting to look at those in the context of what we've been through. A, Brexit, B, the pandemic, and there was something else as well that I can't think what it was off the top of my head. But either way, Whitehall's vision, Westminster's decision. For those of you who don't know, my background in public policy is in the civil service. I used to work on local government policy down in Whitehall. And one of the things I found was just how centralised our entire system is. The local historian in me has been through some case studies of previous attempts of the city of Cambridge, or the borough of Cambridge as was, to become what was called a county borough. This is effectively a unitary authority. The problem we have today is, first of all of those attempts to make Cambridge, or Greater Cambridge, a self-governing single council rather than what we have today, a two-tier council, has meant that today the city of Cambridge is a city with a global brand that is governed like a market town. I'll say that again, a city with a global brand that is governed like a market town. And you can basically see a diagrammatical representation of that in this wonderful Smarter Cambridge Transport slide. It basically means that Cambridge City Council does not have the legal powers or the financial powers or the revenue raising powers to do what it needs to do. The last major attempt we tried to become a single council was in the late 1960s under Harold Wilson's government. This Royal Commission of 1966 to 1969, I've got it at, well, actually, it's in my room here somewhere. Huge piece of work, huge amount of research done. And the proposal was to effectively merge what was Cambridgeshire and the Isle of Ely County Council with Huntingdon and Peterborough County Council, and then separate them north and south. So we would have Greater Cambridge Unitary Authority and Greater Peterborough. And we didn't get that because Harold Wilson lost the election, and we ended up with what we've got pretty much today, with the exception of Peterborough, which is now a unitary, because it was a second generation new town and doubled in population and housing. Again, Whitehall's vision, Westminster's decision. This is the statement from Christopher Pincher, basically saying, look, this is central government policy, and in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter what your local MPs are saying if they are backbench government MPs. What matters is the way they are voting. And because the system that we still have and hasn't really changed much at all under successive governments, where you had ministers from all of the three main parties, this is what we've got. We've seen London, Stansted, Cambridge, the corridor there, and we've also seen the Cambridge to Norwich tech corridor. The transport links are notoriously poor. Anyone who's been on that Cambridge to Norwich or Cambridge to Ipswich line will know what I'm talking about. Anyone who's tried to catch the train to Newmarket, ditto. Will it be the same model of housing financed growth that's going to be driving what could be the extension of East West Rail? Who knows? This is a very important diagram here. This is from the local planning pages. Please do go and have a look at it, because these are all the submissions that were made to the councils, to Cambridge and South Cambridgeshire District Council, for sites that could be developed. These are not the ones that have been accepted in the first round, but because we've got this kind of incremental system of one local plan after another, you can almost see the long-term trajectory. And if all of these sites are to be built upon by the time, let's say, we get to 2065, you will have what is effectively a new town to the east of Cambridge. Camborne will be supersized, and you would probably have another couple of new towns to the south and the west. That's, again, that's speculation, and I'm just going by what the developers have submitted. You can see that green belt there, that's the green belt. That's what previous generations achieved and succeeded for us. Thank you very much, everyone in the Cambridge Preservation Society, for that. Underneath those colours and those coloured and shaded areas are actually some very professionally prepared and very expensive proposals. They make for fascinating reading, but it shows just how much planning and preparation has gone into these. And if we take, for example, the Bar Hill Zero Carbon Employment Park for Greater Cambridge's future, it will also show that they have done a series of professional environmental assessments, which actually are really useful reading for campaign groups, because they have to basically say, actually, some of these areas are very environmentally sensitive, and if you want to build on them, you will have to persuade the local authorities that you are taking sufficient measures to mitigate for them. Limits to growth. There have to be some limits. And yes, we have seen again in recently published documents that all of this depends on water, but it also depends on electricity. And so there needs to be from ministers sufficient direction to get the investment in water and electricity transmission infrastructure. Otherwise, nothing's going to get built. What to do? I say look for those who've got practical solutions. Smart Cambridge Transport, Cambridge Connect Light Rail in terms of how to deal with all the proposed road building and alternatives to them. We've got a new Cambridge Living Streets group, formerly the Pedestrian Association. Cambridge Cycling Campaign you are more than familiar with. Don't campaign alone when you're getting out and about. Get involved with other organisations and support the children. We've got the brilliant Cambridge Schools Eco Council who are doing wonderful things, and they've been campaigning on rivers. I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for listening.